Salesforce training module for the managers on how to use the new customized dashboards. First of all, you want to click on the dashboard tab at the top. And just so I can show you, it's a dynamic dashboard. What a dynamic dashboard means is that you view the dashboard, you can view it as yourself or you can view it as somebody else. Right now I'm viewing it as myself, but if I wanted to come in here and type in, let's say, Rob Ray. When you type in the name, it comes up, but you have to make sure that you hover over and highlight on the name underneath the drop-down and then click on it. And then you'll want to make sure that you refresh. So if I were to refresh there, you can come in and you can see Rob Ray's dashboard. However, if you want to penetrate to see the information, if I were to double-click, you cannot see Rob or the other person that you're trying to view's detailed information. If you wanted to do that, you would have to log in as that user. So what I'm going to do now, since I don't have the screening and the campaigns to use as examples, I'm going to go ahead and log in as Rob Ray. All right, give me 1 second here. We can go ahead and click on users. You find the person's name, let's say, that you want to drill down into, and you just click on the login if they've given you the rights to do so. Passed it. There he is, very first one. All right, as this is pulling up, you can see now I'm logged in as Rob Ray, and I'm going to click on the dashboards. Now, in the next week, I'm going to make the home page or the default page come into their dashboards. So now I'm viewing the dashboard as Rob Ray. I cannot use the dynamics function because I'm logged in as him. I can only use the dynamics function whenever I'm myself looking in from someone else's view. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the setup. You now see that you have only one folder, and this is screening and campaigns. So the vision is to first establish what we've got, the screening and the campaigns, and take a look at a high level this month, this deadline, and last deadline. And from here, we'll also drill down and look into that detailed information. Now, probably in the next 60 to 90 days, we'll be building a separate folder within the dashboards that will be pre-screenings, and that will give you a high-level overview of prospecting and what's taking place, as well as for post-screenings. So everything after the fact, the revenue, the surveys, etc. So for now, let's go ahead, dig into this information. First thing you always want to do, I'm going to click on this month, is you always want to refresh. Now, it will take some time sometimes to refresh. You click on refresh, it didn't come up, so I didn't hit the button good. So now, as I'm doing that, you'll come over here underneath the name, and you'll see that it's refreshing the dashboard in red. Now, it does take about 60 seconds, and in computer world, to us, that's kind of long. But it's pulling in a lot of data and filtering a lot of data. Now, if your reps are refreshing their dashboards, it's not going to take nearly as long because it's not sorting through all the different records. It's just sorting through their own records. So this dashboard is broken into two different columns. If we were to draw a straight line down the middle, everything over to the left is about the screening, and then everything over to the right is about the campaign. So this is the marketing, the campaign of that screening. Now your first row right here, this is your only row or your only two charts that will give you the information in the reps alphabetical order by the first initial of their name. And the reason why I did that is so you can see a side-by-side comparison. If you take a look, screening and campaigns, everything looks good. They're matching up. You want to make sure that everything matches up. So here, Christina has 15 screenings and she only has 12 campaigns. This is so important from the get-go because everything is being reported from campaigns and being driven off of campaigns. So the data that might be coming out for Christina could be skewed because she doesn't have the correct information. So what I want to do is I want to see what 3 screenings don't have campaigns. So I'm going to double-click within this chart. And what it will do is it will break down right here the campaign name and the screening code. The campaign name is coming in from the campaign object. The screening code is coming in from the screening object. And of course, it sorts by the owner's full name and it's ascending order. So I'm going to jump down to Christina, And if you take a look, the way I set this up is that they're missing right here 3 campaigns. So you can just drill in and identify what 3 campaigns these are. Now, as I come over, I say, okay, a couple American Legions. So first thing she probably thinks is maybe they don't have an email address. Just make sure that she's still creating the campaign. She can still put Chris or Bob in as the contact, even if they don't have an email address, and it just won't be sent because there's no email address. Or what I would also recommend, if she didn't want to do that, she would put her name, so that way whenever it's time for an email reminder to come over, it would come to her, so that way it would mentally trigger to her maybe to place that call or to follow up. All right, I'm going to come back to the dashboard, and we will work from the screening column. I'm going to scroll down, and as you can see now, the site changes. This is in the order of descending based off of the value. And again, you can anytime double-click within the reports. You'll see how it's sorted. It's always by the sum is what is reporting. So I have the total, a summary roll-up here for the site contact, the site change, and that's what's reporting. Let's take a look at room rent average. This is your MAR report, monthly average rental. I think that's what it stands for. Yeah. And this is the one that you guys are familiar with. What I wanted to talk about is, first of all, I missed this. It's pulling up underneath My Team Screenings. So if somebody within your team transfers or moves or resigns or what have you, just make sure that we know so we update the hierarchy. But the hierarchy has been updated, so everything should look good there. Now it's pulling up by the screening date. That's the object it's pulling in from. And then it's pulling in for the month of this month. So it's saying, give me all of the screenings for my team for this month. So that's the reason why we called this dashboard. I'll go back to it this month. So we're in the month of November. Now today is the 30th. So tomorrow all of this will look a little bit different and give you different numbers because we'll no longer be in November. But here, you just come over here and see where your roll-up field is, and it's the average. So you can, a lot of information on here. Collectively as a group, if you guys decide that it's too much information or even that you want more, just let me know because this is y'all's dashboards and we can put it together however you need. All right, you should be familiar with that report. I'm going to scroll on down. This is new sites versus old sites. So this is an aggregate, and this is saying in Ray's, I don't know why I keep calling him Ray, I'm sorry, in Rob's area, there are a total of 165 plus 33, 198 screenings that took place for the month of November. So of that, 165, I shouldn't hover over it because then I get that little doohickey that pops up. So 165 of those screenings, or 83%, that's how you read this, see the little tiny colon right in between them, semicolon, were last time codes. The no means, is it a new site is the question. So 83% or 165 of those are last time codes. And then here, 33 of them, or 17%, were new sites. Just make sure that you're reviewing with your reps that a new site is a new site. I have that underneath the help little question mark whenever they're filling out the information, but we all want to make sure that we're on the same page so that way we know how to report. Now I'm going to take this little sliver here of the pie, the 33 new sites, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to say, what does that 33 look like? So of the new sites, what is it broken down by industry? So the orange is the most, 17 records, or 52% is orange, which is churches. And again, you can double click at any time and drill down and see what your rep individually is doing. So sometimes you might see something that's rolled up that's hide details. So if I were to hide the details, it just wraps everything up. So if for some reason you see something and you want to drill down a little bit further, you just want to click on Show Details. I believe all of them are set to where it shows all the details, but if you ever come across it, you'll know how to handle it. All right, back to the dashboard. So now, all right, the last chart on the screenings is of all of the screenings, all 198 within his area, what was the breakdown? So 54%, or 107 of them, were churches. All right, let's come on up to the top, and we're going to come and tackle this second column over here, which is related to the marketing or the campaigns. We already went over the first one and how to make that comparison. So there's a couple here. Maybe Michelle needs to go in and add a campaign. Now remember, even if they don't want to do any marketing, still make sure they are doing a campaign and just checking the box, no marketing. This is really important, and it's a real time saver for me whenever I'm importing the results and the revenue and the stuff from FSA. All right, let's scroll down here. Campaigns with no marketing. Real similar to site changes. It's going to pull up in the value order descending, and it's to pull up any time where the no marketing button is checked, and you can take a look and it just rolls it up. Pretty self-explanatory. All right, this one was pretty tricky, but we finally got this one mastered. The average amount of comps per screening. So if I take a look, I'm going to double click within this report, and it's pulling up from all the screenings. So the first thing that we had to do is we had to total up all the screenings. So Amy has a total of 13 screenings, and you can tell by the screening code, and there's the information. And then also we had to pull in the sum or the amount of the comps that were given for that screening. So in this example, she didn't give any comps. And in this example, she didn't give any comps. This one, she didn't give any comps. You just keep scrolling down and you say, okay, she gave $149 comp there. And then also in this one screening, she gave $149. So we total up the total amount that she gave for the month for the screenings, which were 13, and you divide that, and that's what comes up with the average comp. All right, let's come back. And we'll scroll down for sign-ups. You guys are probably familiar with this report. It's been on the dashboard before. This is anybody who has signed up by putting the information into Salesforce. So if they signed up off of a registration sheet, or if they signed up through a workshop, a Sunday announcement, an educational wellness program, anything of that nature, speaker network, pilot, etc. So within Rob's, I got it right there, 27 are the total number of people that have signed up for the month of November. So this might be a good way to capture some low-hanging fruit. 21 of those had a live contact. So Mildred or Sandy was able to actually speak to them and set up their appointment. 6 of them did not set up their appointment. Now that means they might have been given an appointment time, but you can drill down and see exactly what's going on. So I'm going to scroll over to the right and kind of take a look. So we've got 2 people in Barbara Church's area that are not interested. So I don't know, at some point she might want to, if she's close to numbers, you know, give them a call if she went out and did a Sunday or educational workshop program and maybe they had some more questions. So that's a nice little report that they can take a look at. Now, if you scroll down, these are the number of workshops that are being given for this month in the month of November. And this would include Speakers Network. So if you had a nurse and they were going out speaking on their behalf, they would be pulling up or putting in the educational workshop. So that would be reporting underneath there. Average number of flyers order for the sites. This is the individual site, and this is what they're ordering from C-Star. And then the site contacts that have opted out. This one's pretty important. You know, CAN-SPAM was real big several months ago. We did a lot of training around that. So by the law from CAN-SPAM is you have to give the ability for somebody to opt out or to unsubscribe. So Cassandra and Michelle have each have a record that has opted out. Now this record is for their site contact. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it so that way you know how to approach your reps that might fall into this category. So if I take a look, what this is telling me is Steve and Rose at some point, maybe yesterday, maybe 5 years ago, either verbally said do not send me any more emails or electronically did that by unsubscribing. So what we need to do, because they are our main contact underneath the campaigns, is we need to contact Steve, and we also need to contact Rose to make sure that we can add them to our email distribution list to get the confirmation letter, et cetera, et cetera. So they can click on the person's name. So if I click on Rose, it's going to bring me back to that contacts page layout. So I'm now in the contact screen. And if I take a look on the right-hand column here, you'll see email opted out. So that button has been checked. And again, that could have been 5 years ago, that could have been 2 weeks ago. We don't know. We just know that that's been, at some point, they did ask for us not to send them any email. So Michelle will need to call Rose, hey, it's okay. Yep, it's okay. So then she'll need to come in and she'll need to uncheck that box. And then when she saves it, then they would be taken off of that do not disturb type of list. Let's go back to the dashboard. All right, still looking at screenings this month. I'm going to scroll down, and the average number of feeders per screening. So this one is, it could be a little tricky, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. A couple things that you need to identify on here is, first of all, it's averaging the total number. So that means, let's say, for this Presbyterian church, let's say she only had one account that she was including as a feeder, but there were 20 contacts that she sent the information to. It would come over here as 20. So you just want to keep an eye on this. It is an average on how many people they're sending the information to, but it's not an average on the actual account. So just keep that in mind. So you can take a look at maybe who's not using feeders and then who's maybe using every single person that they can lay their hands on. So just kind of a quick note on that one. All right, let's come on down and take a look at the last one. This is the average number of flyers ordered for the feeders. Now, we didn't have this field back in November, and that's the reason why no data is pulling in. So with that said, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to take a look at a different dashboard. All right, so let's go into the last deadline. I'm going to go ahead and click on the refresh button. Now, the last deadline was for February the 16th, 2012 through February the 29th, 2012. So as the dashboard is refreshing, this is a good way to see maybe if there's somebody behind a little bit that's, you know, hasn't done their campaigns or hasn't done their orders, that type of stuff, for their flyers. Okay, now that it's refreshed, first thing I do is I have to make sure that everybody matches up exactly, just because, yeah, everything looks really good there. So I'm going to go and scroll down and take a look. So here, this makes sense. Nobody has signed up yet for any of the screenings that are to be taken place from that period of time we just discussed, February 2012 up to leap year. But what I want to focus in on is the very bottom. Mary did add this field. So within the campaign members, and I put out a video of probably about 3 weeks ago, and I could send it out if you need it. Again, there's a field now that once they add a member, they go back within that member and they plug in the number of flyers that they ordered for that feeder. So she plugged it in here. It doesn't give you a whole lot of information because there's only one that she ordered it for. So, but it will average it out. It doesn't look like an average just because there's nothing else there. But once we get more data and people start to update those fields on an ongoing basis, we can run some more analytics to see where the marketing dollars are being spent in regards to flyers and what percentage is going to the site contact versus the feeders. And then lastly, you can come into this deadline, and I'm going to refresh here, and this is just a good way to, well, it depends on how they work, to see if anybody is ahead and if they are entering their screenings within Salesforce, maybe at the same time they're entering it within CStar. So as this refreshes, you can kind of note that just Cass, it looks like she does her campaigns maybe the day before deadline. And then it looks like we've got some folks here. Christina's probably the same way. And looks like Judith, way to go, is way ahead. Until next time, may the force be with you. Salesforce, that is.